Welcome, 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 ladies and dragons, to another Vampire Survivors tier list video. This time I'll be ranking the characters of Vampire Survivors and how easy your run will be when you select any of them. In the past, I've done a weapons tier list, which has done the best, I think, because obviously weapons are the most important thing about Vampire Survivors. Obviously you need them, but there's also a lot of them. I've also done a passives tier list video, a little bit less important, but if you're interested on how I rate the passives of the game, then you can check either of those, the weapons or the passives tier list video, out. I might in the future do some runs, or like maybe some guides or something to get, if people are struggling, I could do like a mid to early kind of game guide, or even like a late game thing, like what you should be looking for, how you should go about selecting your weapons and your items, when to get stuff, etc., etc., whatever. I could go through my thought process on that if people are interested. So if anyone is interested in anything at all, you can just leave comments saying what you're interested in, I guess, or not, or just demand that I delete my channel. And if you're interested in more general content from me, not necessarily Vampire Survivors focused, but other roguelikes maybe, or some other things that I might be playing or interested in, just games in general, go ahead and subscribe to me. Press the subscribing button so you can see my videos when they come out, if you want to. So, with all of that being said, we'll get into this tier list. I'm going to rank all the characters based on how easy selecting that character will make your run. Obviously, you can succeed with every single character. You can do crazy runs with every single character, depending on what you get. It's just obviously each character has stats that make things different, and they all have a starting weapon. So whatever their starting weapon is, you will be ending up using that for the entirety of the run. Some have better weapons than others, etc., etc. Some have interesting stats, we'll get into it. So, we'll be starting out with, obviously, all of the base characters. Then we'll be getting into some of, like, the weirder unlocks. And then I think DLC comes first, and then all of the secret characters. And I will be going over how to unlock them. I will be going over their stats, their starting weapon, and where I think they fall. So, enough dilly-dally, enough fucking around the bush. We'll be starting off with Antonio Belpaese. He is, of course, the classic lad, the first man that you'll be playing in the game. Everyone starts with him. He's the only free character. This is the character that everyone will be doing your first run with, no matter what. Unless you're cheating somehow. So, he starts out with the whip, which, as I've gone over in my weapons video, is pretty middle of the pack, but it has very, very high potential to evolve into a pretty good evolution, even on the very first level in the forest, because the hollow heart is available for pickup if you manage to find it. So you have the potential right away to have a very nice deep run. Maybe not all the way to the end, because you are missing a couple key things. But if you know what you're doing on a fresh file, you have the potential to get a very nice deep run with Antonio and set yourself up for the rest of the game. So he starts out with plus 20 max health, plus 1 armor, and every 10 levels you gain 10% might until level 50, so you max out at 50% might. So basically you're getting a free spinach when you select him. And then he also has a little bit of health and then armor. Yeah, so I think he's pretty regular. I mean, he's the he's the poster boy. He's the first lad that you'll be choosing. Might is very good. I don't think he's quite easy run. It depends. I might bump him up to the end of easy run, but again, he's the first character, so I'm just gonna put him in the middle. Pretty standard for all my tier list videos, as it turns out. But I might end up putting him up here because of the like I said, the potential that he has is very nice if you know what you're doing. Yeah, so I mean, he's pretty milquetoast. There's not really too much about him. He's got the whip. He gets buff when you level up, and that's it. That's pretty much it. It's not an easy run or anything like that, unless you, like I said, unless you know what you're doing. And he's not annoying. The only thing that might be kind of annoying is when you first start out, you don't have any amount, so you're only whipping one time. Which is kind of hard, but again, you can get around that. So that was Antonio Belpaese. So next we'll be going on to Imelda Belpaese, his sister or something. I don't know what the lore is. Is there lore? I don't know what the lore is. I'm just going to go with that she is... I'm going to invent the lore. Imelda is Antonio's sister. Or, yeah, sister. We'll go with sister. That's fine. We've got a whole line of vampire survivors. Okay, so she is unlocked. Well, she is unlocked by default, but you need to purchase her for 10 gold coins. And another thing is, every character that you've unlocked, the cost of other characters will scale up. So when you unlock this character, the next one will be a little bit more expensive than the base price. So she starts out with a magic wand, which is kind of dookie. And then she gains 10% growth, which is experience gain every 5 levels until 15. So she gets 30% growth, which again is, if you've seen my other videos, growth is not really important in this game, because you'll just be getting max level every single deep run that you do. And if not, then you'll die, and you don't have to worry about it anyway, because growth isn't doing anything for you stats-wise. So I'm gonna put Imelda in the annoying run category, just because her starting weapon is not good. It's one of the not the worst, but one of the lower grade weapons. And then her passive is just not useful really at all. She doesn't even start with any like stat bonuses or anything like that. Yeah, she's pretty not very strong, I would say. Okay, so we're going to Pasqualina Belpaese. This is, we'll say this is their mom. Sure, whatever. Pasqualina is their mom. She is unlocked by default as well, and you need to purchase her for 100 gold coins, which again scales up with purchased characters. Her passive bonus is she starts out with 10% additional projectile speed, and then she gains 10% projectile speed every 5 levels until 15. So, everything included, she'll get up to a 40% projectile speed bonus, so almost a bracer. Projectile speed, again, is another thing that's kind of like a win more sort of thing. It's nice to have, but it's not like one of the main things that you're looking out for. She starts with the Rune Tracer, which originally I did not really like playing this character at all, because I did not like Rune Tracer when I first started. But if you check my weapons, I'll probably, I gotta stop saying that. Listen, if you're interested in where I rank specifically any of these weapons, you can check my weapons tier list. I'm gonna make a concerted effort to stop saying every character to check my weapons tier list. I'm not that much of a shill. It's just a habit. Okay. Anyway, I didn't really rank Rune Tracer very highly, but when you level it up, and especially when you evolve it, it becomes fairly strong. So, with that being said, I'm going to put her in the standard run, I think. Yeah. I mean, projectile speed is okay. I feel like a lot of characters will be ending up in the middle of the pack, because again, their passives are kind of negligible. It's more of what weapons they start with. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd put her above Antonio, though. Maybe up here in the easy run category when I decide to switch some things around. Because again, like Antonio, she has good potential, except her potential is easier, arguably, to acquire than Antonio's. Although the might is quite nice on him. That's pretty much it. For Pasqualina. So we'll be moving on to Gennaro Belpaese. And we'll say this is their dad. So we've got a whole family here. Isn't that cute? I loved playing Gennaro when I unlocked him. He's unlocked by default. You purchase him for 500 coins. And he starts out with the knife, which again, kind of middle of the pack, but he starts with plus 20 max health, which is nice, but he also starts with plus 1 amount, which is kind of a big deal. Having amount early is important. The upgrade unlock for amount is it's not very expensive, but it's fairly expensive for the kind of money that you'll be acquiring early game. But once you get that amount, it just makes everything so much smoother. You're literally doubling the effective attacks of like 80% of these characters. You're just making your life so much easier, especially with the whip, because then it attacks on both sides, especially with the rune tracer, because then you have 2 of them flying around. Just everything. Like I said, amount is one of the better stats that you can possibly get. I think that's it. He doesn't have any scaling bonuses or anything like that. I realized that Gennaro is ultimately not very strong, but he has good early game, which might be important to you, as it was for me. I got a lot of unlocks off of this guy's back. I didn't really complete any runs, save for like 1 or 2, once I kind of figured out the evolution mechanic. But yeah, once I unlocked the amount, I didn't really bother playing with him anymore, just because his weapon is not that good and he doesn't have any scaling passives. But that being said, you're gonna get yourself a pretty regular run with this guy, because he just comes out of the gate strong. You don't have to really do too much setup. You don't have to grind for gold to get all of these like bonuses and stuff like that. He just comes out of the gate strong. He starts out with the knife, which is whatever, but you can pick up Santa Water, you can pick up Bible, you can pick up, stuff that will make it much easier on your life. And then you don't really have to worry too much about the scaling until like minute 20, minute 25, kind of. And even then, if you're set up by then, you should be fine. The plus 1 amount is nice, especially if you get Duplicator and you have the unlock. You'll just have shit flying around all over the place, and it kind of offsets the lack of scaling eventually. There's not too much else to say about Gennaro, I think. Yeah, he's just fine. He's a cool character. Yeah, I think I'll put him. God damn it, I'll put him at the top here. For now. I might wildly change everything. Who knows? I guess I should mention that these are all my opinions. I didn't mention that in any of the other videos. I would say that the rankings is kind of is opinion based on my end, but it's coming from facts that I have from experience, and that I have from just knowing all the stats and everything like that, and what I value personally in a run. I probably should have mentioned that in either of my first 2 videos, but it never occurred to me. But yeah, so these are like just like my opinions, man. As far as the ranking goes, the actual like me talking about the character is pretty much all grounded in fact, until I talk about how I feel about them. So we're going on to Arca Ladonna. I think this guy is not a vampire, but he looks like a vampire. Is he trying to be a pretend vampire to gain their trust? Maybe. Who knows? Okay, so this guy you unlock by getting the Fire Wand to level 4. Then you can purchase him for 500 geld. Alternatively, if you have the Forbidden Scrolls of Morbane, you can cast the spell None Ladonna and unlock, and get them available for unlock. But I think you'll probably end up getting the Fire Wand to level 4 before you even unlock the Forbidden Scrolls of Morbane. But that is an alternative way to unlock Arca. So Arca starts with the Fire Wand. Whatever. And then Arca starts with 10% might. And then he gets minus 5% cooldown every 10 levels until 30. So you get up to 15% cooldown reduction. So 10% might, 15% cooldown reduction, which are both quite good. Those are both quite good, I would say. The problem being that he starts with the Fire Wand, and the cooldown reduction sort of helps with that, but you're really kind of just hoping that you get an actual good weapon on your first couple level ups, or you're going to be having a little bit of annoying time. I think I'm going to put him at the end of standard run. There's nothing really bad about him, and it's not like Fire Wand at max rank and Hellfire are bad. They're just weapons that you want to augment your already strong build. And I mean, they're pretty easy to swap out of. You don't really want it, but you're not hating it when you have it. It's just the early game is a little bit annoying, especially if you don't get a strong weapon in the first like 4 or 5 levels, because then you're really struggling to target down and kill packs as they're coming for you, and then that of course delays your experience gain, and you find yourself spending a lot of time running away instead of killing enemies. But that being said, like I said, he's not like starting with a really terrible weapon and no passive. He has good passives. The weapon is just not strong. That's pretty much it. Alrighty then, on to Porta Ladonna. I guess, I don't know. Everyone's related, so I wonder if they're all just vampire slaying families. Or something. Okay, so Porta Ladonna, she is unlocked by getting the lightning ring to level 4 and then purchasing for 500 gold. And again, using the Forbidden Scrolls of Morbane. Alternatively, you can cast the spell Viva Ladonna, and then unlock her. So she starts with the lightning ring, which is very nice. And then she starts automatically just coming out of the gate with a 30% area. And then she starts out with a 90% cooldown bonus, but then that gets decreased every level up until being negated at level 4, I believe. So it goes from 90% to 60% to 30% to 0% additional. So basically, she's just the cooldown bonus is just there to let the lightning ring level you up, because otherwise you'd be spending a lot of time running around and not really doing much. You can sort of like delay her level up by obviously not collecting gems, but you can delay her leveling up and just having the lightning bolt strike very, very quickly for a long time until you have gathered a good amount of gems, and then you can shoot right to like level 5, 6, maybe even 10 if you've taken the time to do this. So you can sort of game the system a little bit and get a really nice start on your run if you do that. If not, it's not that big of a deal. Every level you're probably getting some options for a weapon that's nice that you'd want, and then the lightning ring is there to be leveled up when you get the levels, obviously, and then the evolution is very nice. So I will say the 30% area is very nice. She just comes out of the gate with that. It's so good. Area is one of the better stats. And then the early cooldown reduction really just helps her kickstart the run. And again, you can kind of game it a little bit. So I'm going to put her in the easy run category, just because if you really know what you're doing, you can really, like, you can jump yourself into a solid build even like before the 5-minute mark, and then you just don't really have to worry about too much. Obviously it depends on what weapons and passives that you get offered and stuff like that, but jumping up that many levels that quickly is kind of nice, obviously. And lightning ring in itself is one of the better weapons. Yeah, she's cool. She's cool and good. All right, so now we've got Lama Ladonna, Axe Mommy. Again, she starts out with the axe. She is unlocked by surviving at least 20 minutes with 10% curse active. So you can get curse in a lot of different ways. You can get them from eggs. You can get them from, obviously, the items that give you curse. There's a few different ways you can get curse, but I think you'll find that she gets unlocked fairly naturally. Because I just didn't really even know that I had curse most of the time until I was looking into the actual game. And then she is purchased for 500 gold coins like the others. So she starts out with the axe, obviously. And she starts out with some very nice base stats. She starts out with 10% max health, 10% might, 10% move speed, and 10% curse. And then every 10 levels, she gains another 5% of all of those, maxing out to 30% in total might, move speed, curse. So might, move speed, obviously pretty good, pretty strong. Curse, it depends. It just depends. If you check my passives tier list, this time I'm not referencing the weapon one, but if you check the passives tier list, I kind of go in depth a little bit about luck and curse and how they're strange mechanics and interesting, and they're just, curse is not just a negative. So I used Lama a little bit when I got a mount. She can be kind of annoying to use because the axes are kind of like, you have to really aim them, and you have to know the cooldowns in order to successfully use them. They're not very good in the early levels 1, 2, 3. It gets a lot better when you max them out, obviously. And then, I mean, you get 30% might and move speed, which is good, but again, you also have the 30% curse, which, at least in the early game, usually is not super good. If you're going for a curse run, you can kind of get away with her, but yeah, I think I'll put her here for now. Yeah, there's not too much else to go over Lama. Alright, so we have Poe Ratcho now, the old man with the truck nuts. So he is unlocked by getting garlic to level 7, and then you purchase him for 500 gold. Oh, sorry, I think I forgot, I forgot Lama's spell. Lama's spell is Super Ladonna. And Poe's spell to unlock him is Strongest Character. That's funny. So he starts out with the garlic, the truck nuts. And his passives, he starts out with a minus 30 max health, which is not so good. And 25% magnet, which is whatever. I don't know. I did play a lot of Poe, just because, like I said, in the earliness of the game, you think garlic is super buff. Because you can just shit on early game enemies, and get all their treasure, and then minute 15 comes and you're like, why is my garlic not killing these things in one hit anymore? What the hell? And then they just surround you and kick your ass because you're a fucking old man with back problems. So I'm gonna put him, I don't think he's quite hard run. I guess I'll put him in hard run for now. There's some others that are a little bit more difficult, but I think I'll put him in hard run for now. I might put him at the end of annoying run, just because you have to deal with having garlic. I mean, again, it's early, it's nice early, but it just quickly devolves into doing basically nothing later, and then the minus 30 max health might actually end up getting you killed if you get like one tapped by something. Magnet is just wee. Yeah, so he's an old man. He's an old man, and he plays like one, I guess. I guess he doesn't have a move speed debuff, but could be worse. Alright, next up we have Suor Clerici. She starts out with the Santa Water, which is a very, very nice weapon. You unlock her by recovering 1,000 HP total over the course of all your runs. Then you're able to purchase her for 500. And then her spell in the Forbidden Scrolls of Morbane is Feshiuma. Fascium. I might put the spelling overlaid, just because they're a little bit dependent. I mean, obviously, it's very dependent on spelling. It's a unlock cheat, basically. But if you are interested yourself, you can check out the wiki, and each one will have it laid out in the character. Okay, so she starts out with 0.5 recovery and 50 max health. And then she starts out with 400% area, but then that depreciates again until you get to level 5 at 0, which ends up being a 0% bonus. So basically, she just starts out with the Gatorade, having giant pools of Gatorade. It just makes her, again, kind of like Porta with the cooldown reduction, just makes it easier for her to level up and get weapons, so you're not just relying on the Santa water coming in and being not very good in early levels. That being said, once you level her up, hey, you get Santa water as your starting weapon. That's pretty good. The recovery in max health is kind of, I mean, it's a good failsafe, but I don't find it being very important in late deep runs. But in the early runs, you'll probably be taking damage every once in a while, so the recovery in the health helps. So I think I will put her. I'm gonna put her in standard run, maybe at the end of easy run, because again, you can kind of set up like Porta, but it's not exactly the same because you have only the area bonus instead of the CDR, so it makes it a little harder. And I mean, both of these weapons are random, but the CDR negates that a bit, whereas the area just makes it easier for enemies to run into the big Gatorade puddle. So it's a little bit harder to stack gems and then level up all at once than on Porta, but you can still do it and get away with it. So yeah, I think she's a fine character. Now we have Dommario. Another old man, not quite as old as Poe though, I reckon. He starts out with a King Bible, which is nice. You unlock him by getting over 5,000 gold coins in a single run. Then you can buy him for 500. And his spell is Bioparco. And his passive bonuses, he gets a permanent 40% projectile speed and 40% duration at the cost of a 40% movement speed debuff. So you're getting a permanent 80% stats for minus on your movement speed. Movement speed is kind of a big deal, but again, you'll find as you're leveling up, you don't really have to move around that much. Once you have your build going, projectile speed again is kind of is meh. It's whatever. You do get it front loaded. You don't have to level up or anything like that. And the duration is very nice, especially with Bible, because it just lets it spin for longer, obviously. And then you can combine that with Spellbinder, which I imagine you will, to get the evolution. And then you're looking at like plus 90% duration just with this character and one passive item. It's kind of nice. I think I'm going to put him in easy run, closer to the bottom, probably. The movement speed debuff is annoying. It's not, like, it's generally not really a big deal. It's a bigger deal early, but it's just not, I mean, you can look past it when you have 90% duration with with one passive item. And you can get that up there with others as well. You can get it like doubled. You can get that up there quite highly, and then pair that with Santa water or anything else really, and you're looking at a pretty solid run, all things considered. So that is Dommario. I'm trying to go a little bit faster and not ramble as much as I have in the past because I don't know. This list is longer than the than the passives, obviously, so I had a little bit of time to play around with, but it was still like over an hour. So next up is Krochi Freetto. This guy's like a demon or something. I'm not sure why he's hunting vampires, but hey, you do you, King. He looks cool. He starts out with the cross, which is fine. You unlock him by defeating 100,000 enemies in total across all your runs. Then you buy him for 500. And then his spell is Accidenti. Accidenti. So his passive bonus is he starts with 1 revival. And then at level 33, he gains another revival. And then he just gets a 30% passive movement speed buff. So he'll get a total of 2 revives with this guy if you use them. And then the movement speed buff is kind of like is kind of nice. It's kind of like another like win more thing. As I've said, movement speed, I can take it or leave it, but if you have it, cool. The revivals, again, for me, it kind of depends. The revivals can save your run, obviously. They can give you more time to gain coins. They can even solidify you an unlock. But again, you're really not looking to die at all. You could go for that weird, if you're doing an Arcana, you could go for that weird revival run where you like die on purpose. And you get like 9 revivals, and every time you revive, you get like Omni or something like that. I don't think it's quite Omni, but you get a lot of stats every time you die and revive. You could do that if you wanted, but it's pretty niche, all things considered. Other than that, I mean, starting out with the cross is fine. You can get that leveled up nicely, and it starts clearing out enemies. You're not really looking to evolve it into Heavenly Sword, because Heavenly Sword is just not very good. But you can really augment this guy with some nice stuff. And the revivals is kind of just like a safety net, I suppose you'd say. I think I'd put him maybe above Gennaro, just because he doesn't have anything super interesting. He's just solid. He's fast. He's got revivals in case you die, so he's good in the early levels when you're just trying to farm unlocks. He's a solid guy. And the cross, despite its evolution being bad, is a fairly decent weapon early game. Alright, so next up we've got Christine Davain. Oh, Christine. She starts out with the pentagram. You unlock her by getting the pentagram to level 7. Then you buy her for 500. And her spell is Crystal Makeup. Oh, Christine. So she starts with the pentagram. Her passives are, she starts with 1 extra level, because pentagram is obviously not enough to do anything. So you really have to hope that your first level you get something usable. If not, you're stuck with pentagram and hating your life. She also has, to cap it all off, minus 50% max health, minus 35% might, and then she does have a minus 25% cooldown reduction and a 30% movement speed bonus. So the cooldown reduction and movement speed are obviously very good, especially when you have this pentagram as your main thing, and it takes 900 years for it to go off, and then it deletes all your experience points. Movement speed is good because you'll be doing a lot of running away. The max health and might is the might is obviously much more of a big deal, because a solid minus 35% to your damage is not very good. Like, obviously she's trying to lean into this like deleting enemies gimmick, but just everything else scales off of might. It's not just the pentagram that you're going to be using, or you will die pretty early. So yeah, that's kind of a big detriment. Her max health it just caps it off, in my opinion. Yeah, she's just not good. She's not good. It makes your run just annoying from the start, because the pentagram will go off immediately, killing the enemies, so you have to actively run around and find more dudes to kill with the weapon that hopefully was a nice one out of probably 3 options. At least one of those would be a passive, maybe even an upgrade for the pentagram, so your chances are kind of slim for your first level getting a nice, or at least usable weapon that you can actually farm enemies with. It just really delays her levels. It really delays everything. And I mean, the pentagram is one of the worst weapons in the game. She's just she just makes your run annoying from the get-go, basically. I've only picked her a couple times when I was experimenting with the pentagram, and for the evolution, and I think you need to get her to, for an achievement, you need to get most of the characters to a certain level or survive a certain amount or whatever. So I don't like her at all. She's stinky. She's kind of a hoe. I don't like her. All right, moving on to Pugnala Provola. I like Pugnala. You unlock her by finding her coffin in the Mad Forest. So there'll be like an area that you go to in the Mad Forest. It'll have enemies. You kill the enemies, open the coffin. You saved her. And then you buy her for 1,000. Alternatively, her spell is Fly Me to the Moon. She's cool. She starts out with Fiera del Tufelo and 8 the Sparrow, the 2 guns. And then she gains 1% might every level with no cap, and starts with a 20% movement speed bonus. So the movement speed bonus is nice early, starting out with good, solid weapons, especially early, that have the potential to evolve into a very nice union, is super nice. And then the 1% might every level is so good. There's no cap. You're getting high levels, especially in these deep runs. I mean, by the time the run ends, you're usually at least over level 100. Sometimes I've even seen like level 300. Pretty rarely, but most of the time it's between 100 and 200, whatever you will end up your level being. So it starts out not super good, but once you hit level 50 and get your build going, you get a free spinach, basically, and then it just keeps going. It keeps going, and you get double damage, like double and a half. You might even get triple damage if you're really farming experience and going crazy, or if you're on a infinite run. You can go crazy. You can go crazy with this character. She's nice. I'm gonna put her in the easy run category. I think I might put her above Porta. She doesn't have quite as nice early game as Porta does, but it is solid. And her potential is infinite, literally. So, she's nice. And the obviously the Fiera del Tufelo and the 8 the Sparrow combo is good too. So yeah, she's very, very cool, very good. Stylish hat, also, might I add. Yeah, she's cool. So, next we've got Giovanna Grana. You unlock her by finding her coffin as well in the inlaid library. And then you buy her for 1,000, and then her spell is the 2 Assassins. All one word. All of the spells are one word. So she starts out with Gatti Amari, and she gains 1% projectile speed every level with no cap and a 20% movement speed bonus. So she's kind of similar to Pugnala, where she has a no cap, and movement speed bonus early. The difference being that might is obviously way better than projectile speed, but it kind of evens out a bit, because starting with Gatti Amari, as long as you don't evolve it, the projectile speed, I believe, works on the cats, so they'll be fucking zooming, and they'll be more likely to crash into each other and cause scuffles and fights, and more likely to pick stuff up off the ground and eat it or give it to you. So as long as you don't evolve the Gatti Amari, Giovanna's looking kind of good with the infinitely scaling projectile speed. It doesn't, I mean, it's not quite as good as damage, I think, but yeah, she's just solid. I think I would put her somewhere in here. Personally, I don't really like Gatti Amari, but I've seen the light, I guess you would say, on this weapon, and I can see that it can be quite good. In certain cases, I just don't like how it beats the shit out of you. The cats will claw you and do damage to you. I'm gonna put her, I don't know. Again, this is kind of subjective, I guess you would say. It's mostly me just talking about the characters, what they do, how strong I feel like they are. But it's kind of hard to rank them all numerically. I feel like somewhere in here, feel like she's probably better than Krochi. Yeah, I feel like this is a solid spot. Dommario basically has her passive plus, but she obviously outpaces him as far as projectile speed goes on past level 40. But again, I think he's just easier to use. So I'll put her there. So that's enough for her. Onward to Poppea Pecorina, Mommy's Milker's character. She is unlocked by finding the coffin in the dairy plant, and then you buy her for 1,000. And her spell is Feldschlacht. And she starts with the Song of Mana. So the Song of Mana is nice. I like this weapon a lot. Again, and it's also interesting because the area right after the dairy plant is the Tower of Gallo, in which this item really shines. Obviously, Tower of Gallo is just a straight up and down, and the Song of Mana goes up and down as well, so you cover a lot of space, and it's nice. So she starts with a 20% movement speed as well, but she gains 1% duration every level with no cap. This is nice. Duration, obviously I've gushed over duration in this video a little bit, but having upwards of double your duration without any other items, excuse me, is very, very strong. It's super nice, especially with Song of Mana, with the lingering kind of whatever sparkles that shoot out, and the subsequent evolution. She's just good. I don't know if I would put her above Pugnala or not, but these two are pretty close together. Poppea, you have to do less work, I think, than Pugnala. Actually, that's not even true. You literally only need one passive for her. I don't know. I think Pugnala's overall stronger because might scaling is better, but the duration almost kind of evens out, especially if you have AoE stuff like the book, like Santa Water. It almost kind of evens out in damage, if not surpasses it at some point. So I think Pugnala and Poppea are pretty even as far as how easy they make your run. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, next up is Concetta Caciotta. I think this guy's a demon too. Caciotta? I don't know. Caciotta. Anyway, he's a demon also, of some kind, but he's a rockin' demon. Instead of just a devout demon or whatever Krochi is. I don't know. Oh, sorry, it's a girl. My mistake. She is a rockin' demon. So you unlock her by finding her coffin in Gallo Tower. It's in like a hidden room, then you go through a mirror, and then you find it there. And her spell is I Feel Love Venus. So she starts with Shadow Pinion and gains 1% area every level with no cap. She also starts with 20% movement speed and 10% curse because she is a demon, I guess. Damn, her alternative sprites are much better. She has a sweet, she has a cool, maid outfit. But her guitar sucks more, so I don't know. You can view the alternative sprites on the wiki. I believe all the characters have alternative sprites, or at least most of them. So gaining 1% area with uncapped every level is quite nice. The only annoying thing is she has Shadow Pinion, which I've said before is an annoying weapon to use. It's definitely a good weapon. I'm just lazy, and I don't play on keyboard and mouse. So, I'm gonna put her at the... I should not put her here at the bottom. I was tempted to put her in annoying just because Shadow Pinion is an annoying weapon to use. I objectively shouldn't put her here. I should probably put her at least closer to the top, like below Clerici, or maybe even above Clerici. But fuck you, this is my tier list, and I don't like to use Shadow Pinion, even though it's strong. I just don't like to use it. It's annoying, and I'm lazy. I don't want to have to stop and start moving all the time and aim all of this, all these things on the ground. That being said, if you are into that kind of thing, and you're good at it, Concetta probably goes up to like here. The area bonus is nice. Obviously, you can easily full screen stuff, even without arcanas. But yeah, I just think that Shadow Pinion is annoying, in my Shadow opinion. I don't like to use it, and that's all of the that's all of my reasoning for putting her at the bottom of standard run. Sorry, rocking demon lady. All right, we got Mortaccio, the lad himself. He starts out with the bone because he's a skeleton. You unlock him by killing 3,000 skeletons, and then you buy him for 500. Apparently, he doesn't have a spell that you unlock him, but if you are on the main menu and you type up, up, down, down, left, right, escape, enter, which is the Konami code basically modified for keyboard, you unlock him, and it also gives you 2,800 gold, I guess. That's interesting. I didn't even know that. So you can do the Konami code and get this bone guy, and you get some cash as well. So he gets the bone, obviously. Bone for the Bone Lord. And his passive is he gains 1 amount every 20 levels until 60, so you get a +3 total amount, which is cool. It's like a scaling version of Gennaro. I've said before, bone is kind of good. It doesn't evolve. It's not interesting. It's just solid. Obviously, it's a solid bone. It's just good. I'm going to put Mortaccio here, right above Gennaro, by a little bit, just because obviously he gets more amount. He doesn't have the other passives that Gennaro has, but he starts out with a better weapon. Yeah, and then you just level it up. You don't have to worry about it. You get an extra passive slot that you don't have to worry about evolving, and you're looking good. He doesn't really have anything other than that interesting about him. He's just a bone guy doing bone stuff in a bone world. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so now we go to Yatta Cavallo. Yatta Cavallo. I think this guy's a badger or something. So you unlock him by killing 3,000 lion heads, and then you can purchase them. Alternatively, with the spells of Morbane, you can cast the spell Yatta Panda. And he starts with Cherry Bomb. Again, Cherry Bomb is similar to the Bone, except maybe a little bit less consistent. So again, he has the same passive that Mortaccio has, where you gain 1 amount every 20 levels until level 60, maxing out at +3 amount. I think similar to where I place their weapons, respectively, I will place them similarly to this. I could make an argument for each either being better than the other. The main difference is, the only difference is the starting weapon, with Bone being more consistent and Cherry Bomb having the potential to do more damage but being less consistent. He's kind of weird. I think these are secret characters, technically. I don't think these are no, these aren't secret characters. Sorry. We'll get into that. These are just strange characters that you unlock over the course of the game. Alright, moving on to Bianca Ramba. You unlock Bianca by killing 3,000 milk elementals, and then purchasing for 500. And then the spell is Caramba. Caramba. So Ramba starts out with the Corello, which is the minecart weapon, which I liked a lot. And again, the same passive as Mortaccio and Cavallo, where you gain more amount every 20 levels until 60, maxing out at +3. So again, the same way I place their weapons, I'm just going to put Ramba more considerably above these two, but these two are closer. Yeah, it's just interesting stuff that each of them end up throwing around. Alrighty, on to the goodest boy, Osole. Osole mio. It's cute that it has a last name. So you unlock by killing 3,000 dragon shrimp and then buying for 500. So apparently all the types of dragon shrimps count toward the requirement, but the boss versions do not. Alternatively, the spell for Osole is Reset. So you start with Celestial Dusting, and then the same exact passive as the past 3, where you gain 1 amount every 20 levels, maxing at 3. I love the little good boy, but the problem is Celestial Dusting is not very strong. Getting more amount is strong, but I think I'm going to put Asole in the annoying run category, probably at the top, because you can, once you get other weapons that aren't Celestial Dusting, you're feeling pretty good, especially when you get amount. But you would rather just be playing any of these 3 that have the identical passive, but starting with a better weapon. That being said, you can kind of get away with doing this and doing like a regen-centric run, but you don't really need to do that if you just want to get deep runs. So whatever. Okay, next up is Sir Ambrogio. He is a lovely gentleman. You kill 6,000 stage killers and elite stage killers, and then purchase for 500. And then his spell is Languorino. Okay, so he starts out with La Roba, which is the item that spawns furniture from the top and then bounces off of people's heads and kills them. And then his passive is he starts out with 10 amount. But similar to Clerici and Porta, every level you lose 2 amount. Yeah, okay, so it's a little bit weird. So every level you lose 2 amount. So once you get to level 6, you have 0 amount. But then when you get to level 20, you start gaining more amount every 20 levels. So it's kind of like a combination of these characters and like and Ramba and Mortaccio, where you start out with a shitload of amount, so you'll have a lot of tables and chairs and bookcases and whatever flying around. Then as you level up, it'll go down. Then there's like a 13 level period where you have no extra amount, but then it starts to go up again once you hit level 20. Kind of weird, but that being said, he's quite strong because La Roba is a strong weapon. It's cool and it's fun and it's funny. He's pretty fun. I like him a lot. Just the fact that you get to start the game and then just see like furniture raining down from the ceiling, killing everything. He's fun. He's also pretty strong. The furniture, the La Roba doesn't have an evolution, but it's pretty good as it is, especially when you eventually get that amount bonus. So we'll move on to Gallo. This is Iguana Gallo Velleto. This fucking guy. You unlock him by obtaining Infinite Corridor, which is the evolution of Clock Lancet. Then you buy him for 2k, and his spell is Weight Reaction. So he starts out with the Clock Lancet. He gets an extra level for his passive bonus. And then they get 15% duration, minus 15% cooldown, minus 50% greed. So you get 50% less money. And then they get 3 rerolls and 3 extra skips on top of any that you might already have purchased. This one's kind of a weird one to rank, I think. I really don't like Clock Lancet by itself. I think it's very weak. You can augment that with Arcanas, but just by itself, it's got to be the worst. I mean, he starts with an extra level so you can actually kill things. It's sort of helpful sometimes in the early game, but I don't know. The duration and cooldown is pretty nice. And then you also get growth, I think, every 5 levels, ending up at 50% growth, I think. This, sorry, it's not super clear. 15% duration. Okay, yeah, so it gets all that stuff, and then growth scales up until level 25 at 50%, which, again, growth is not really that important. The 3 rerolls and 3 skips are quite nice. I could see you picking Gallo if you are going for Clock Lancet and trying to kill death, specifically because The extra rerolls and skips help you with that. You already start out with this thing, so all you got to do is get the rings. Duration and cooldown is a nice bonus. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know where I'd put this guy. Again, it's like Christine, where you have to hope that your first level gives you something nice that you can use to actually kill stuff, or else you're just having a bad time. I don't think he's quite in the hard run, just because the duration and cooldown. Having minus greed is annoying, so he's not good for farming at all. You're probably only going to take this guy or pick this guy if you get random, or if you choose random, or if you are going for a kill death run. But even then, there's better options, I think. I don't know. I don't really particularly think this guy's that nice. Maybe I'll put him at the top of hard run for now. Just because he's similar to Christine, except you get a much... Actually, well, the I don't know. It's hard to say. I think I'll put him here for now. Again, the scaling growth doesn't do anything really for you, especially because, like I said, you'll always be getting max, and then the 50% minus on your greed is kind of counteracting the extra levels that you would have gotten from the growth. So it's whatever. So I'm gonna put him there for now. All right, on to Divano Thelma. This lad, you unlock them by obtaining Crimson Shroud, and then you buy for 2,000 geld. And then his spell is Quando lo diselio. I think Quando lo diselio. Starting out with Laurel. Laurel's okay. Start with an extra level. They start with 1 recovery, like a full point of recovery per second, 30% luck bonus, minus 50% to greed, and you get 6 banishes. Banishes are kind of like the last line of defense when you're out of skips and reroll, or when you... No. The banishes are your second line of defense, sorry. When you're kind of out of skips and you just want to lower the item pool so that you get what you want. So banishes are kind of nice. Having 6 of them is kind of cool. The recovery is okay. The luck bonus is pretty good, but again, that minus 50% greed sort of counteracts that if you're trying to farm. I wouldn't really pick this guy. And the extra level, again, similar to Gallo, is kind of annoying. I think I would put Divano above Gallo, just because Laurel inherently is a better weapon than Clock Lancet is. They both have good potential if you decide to evolve them, but Laurel is just generally a bit more useful, especially in like the early to mid game, throughout all your runs and stuff like that. He's not super interesting. Just a guy with a leaf, you know. Guy with a leaf. All right, so next up is Zi'Assunta Belpaese. You unlock them by finding and opening the coffin in Capella Magna. Then you purchase for 5,000. And then the spell in the Scrolls of Morbane is Paradigm Shift. So she starts with Vento Sacro, the other whip, the flurry of attacks whip, rather than the 2 long whips. And then she gains, let's see, 0.5% might, projectile speed, duration, and area. So I'm pretty sure that's Omni. So she gains 0.5% Omni every level, uncapped, starting with a 20% movement speed bonus and 10% in Curse. So this is sort of, the passive is pretty nice. You just get, like I said, you just get Omni at a 0.5% per level. It's obviously half as good as 1%, but you're kind of, you're getting 2% worth of stats every level, which can outclass most of the other uncapped scalers, I would say. The curse is whatever. And then the movement speed is nice as well. So starting with the Vento Sacro, I think early is a little bit better than the normal whip. Again, you're probably gonna end up getting both of them anyway if you are going for the union and the evolutions and things like that. But 0.5% Omni is pretty nice. I think I'd put her at the, like, right here. I could definitely see an argument for her being higher, though, on the list. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't played her too much. I mean, I've played her a good amount, but, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say that she's just a better Antonio, right? Because Antonio gets scaling might up to 50%, yada yada, blah blah blah. But the whip is different, and uncapped Omni is pretty nice. I might move her up to like above Krochi or something. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. As I thought, this kind of middle section here is filling up. It makes sense for the characters. Other than that, there's not too much interesting about her. And then the final non-secret, non-DLC character, of course, Queen Bigma. Queen Sigma. Queen Gigma. Not Queen Ligma. One major thing that's different is when you're playing as her, you cannot pick up golden eggs. So you cannot get golden eggs that will augment her stats and make them better. Vary by a small amount, and they just kind of fly away when you pick them up. So you unlock Queen Sigma by completing all the entries in the collection. It's kind of annoying to do, but if you know what you're doing, it's pretty easy. After you unlock her, you do have to purchase her, but her purchase price is 0, so she's free. You just have to unlock her. Her spell in the scrolls is Alatonce. So I'm just gonna say right now, Queen Sigma is probably one of, if not the freest character to play as. She starts with Victory Sword for one, which is one of the best weapons in the entire game. And she just gets so much juicy stuff. She starts out with 333 max health, 3 recovery, 3 armor, 50% movement speed bonus, 50% might bonus, 50% duration, minus 25% cooldown reduction, plus 1 amount, plus 1 revival, 100% magnet, 50% luck, 10% curse, and then you get 108 reroll, skip, and banishes. It's pretty good. Basically, the 108 just guarantees that you will get whatever you want, anything, whatever you want, whatever build you want to do. She's kind of like a sandbox character in a way, because you can just go in with her. You don't have to worry about dying because she's basically indestructible. I have died on her once, I think, when I just was not paying attention in like the mid game, but it's so difficult to die on her at all. The mid run, but yeah, it's too difficult. And then to cap all of that off, she gains plus 1% might and growth every level uncapped. Growth is whatever, but another 1% might every single level. So you will be getting upwards of like 200% might, maybe even 300% might. You could even maybe get to 400% if you have spinach. And at that point, you're just one-shotting, like, or pretty close to one-shotting, like, everything. She's so good. Not to mention, if you're running Arcanas, you choose an Arcana at your first level before you start. Then she gets to choose an Arcana at levels 2, level 3, level 77, and level 108. And you choose from the full list of Arcanas instead of just randomly chosen ones. So she's just if not the best character, just the freest character. You could sometimes even just AFK from the beginning, just selecting your levels. Like, she's like nearly impossible to kill, especially when you get some weapons and items going. You just get 4 basically free Arcanas early game, or 3 free Arcanas early game if you're running Arcanas, which will break your run right away, effectively, especially if you get Slash, because she starts with Victory Sword, and then you just get permanent. You just get over 100 reroll banish skips. So again, you'll just guarantee whatever you want to get, you'll have it with her. Yeah, she's like a sandbox character, I guess. I've done a lot of unlocking with her just because I didn't want to bother, like, thinking. She's very strong for kill death runs because she's just so free. Like, she's just free. She gets Victory Sword, which will evolve into Soul Solution. You can very easily get Clock Lancet and everything. She's just super fast, super strong. She's got everything. She's got everything you could possibly want and then some. So yeah, she's the queen. And then when you level her up, I think to level 50, Victory Sword then becomes available to choose in regular runs. So you're you're getting a nice bonus with that as well. All right, so we'll be getting into the DLC characters now, starting with Miang Moonspell. Miang Moonspell is, I believe, she's the first character that you'd play, but you unlock her by finding her coffin in Mount Moonspell, and then you purchase her for 1,000. So she's the first one that you kind of need to kick off getting all of the characters for the DLC. And her spell is Shonen Heroine. Heroine as in like a female hero, not as in black tar. So anyway, she starts with Silver Wind, which is a pretty solid enough, if a little underwhelming weapon. But she starts with 20 max health, 1 recovery, and 20% movement speed. And then every time she overheals, which means she gets like pick up a health heart or turkey or floor chicken or whatever it is, and she's at full, she will then gain 0.2 max health. So basically, you can get her max health up pretty high. If you continue overhealing, which you should be able to do once you evolve Silver Wind and you get some other regen sort of based weapons if you're planning on doing that. I think similar to Antonio, she's pretty solid. I think she's a bit more difficult to use maybe than Antonio because the Silver Wind has less potential than the whips do, I guess. But she's good if you're like going for regen and stuff like that. And again, you have to play her to unlock the other characters. But I think she's just a pretty Norman. Okay, so next up is Menya Moonspell, Granddaddy. You unlock Menya by evolving the Silver Wind weapon. Grandmommy. Sorry. So she, you evolve Silver Wind, and then you get Menya, and then you buy her for 5,000. Her spell is Young at Heart. So she starts out with 4 seasons, which is kind of whatever. And her passives are minus 20 max health, 10% might, 10% cooldown reduction, 10% luck, and then 8 banish. So then, also, depending on how many enemies that you defeat, she'll enter like a boosted state, where she becomes stronger and then like invincible for a little while, I think. So when that gets triggered, enemies get erased like the effects of Rosary, and then she gains a level 1 108 Bocce, which is basically only active while she's being boosted. She can't be damaged. She has 200% might, 20% cooldown, 50% curse, and up to 300 movement speed. Basically, they cap it at 300 just to prevent her from fucking breaking the game, I think, for going too fast. So it basically, it goes from once when you kill 500 enemies, she gets it, then 1,000, then 2,000, then 3,000, then 5,000, then 7,000, 10,000, and so on and so on. Basically, it gets up to 15,000, and then there's like a formula. It's like 10,000 to N, where it scales like infinitely, basically. And that's when you get her boosted states. So she's an interesting character. She has a lot of interesting mechanics. Whoops, I have the wrong menu. This one. She has a lot of interesting mechanics. Four Seasons, I think I was a little too harsh on. It can be more consistent than what I was saying in the weapon tier list video. I think I don't know, the boosted state. It's good, but then it gets too long in between triggers to really have it matter. But again, at that point, your run is taken care of. She's not quite annoying. I feel like she's probably in standard run somewhere. Probably like maybe below Pasqualina here somewhere, I guess. Just because like the boosted state just kind of lets her jam out, and you can get some really nice strats running. Yeah, I don't know. She's, like I said, she's kind of a weird one, and the boosted, like, it kind of starts to drop off, especially once you get past 15,000 enemies killed, and then it just starts to, like, logarithmically increase. I think it's logarithmic, right? Is it n scaling, or is that, whatever. Anyway, correct me in the comments, I guess. I'm too stupid. I don't like math. And that's that. Yeah, so she's kind of interesting. Oh yeah, so I put her here. I don't know, I might change this around. She's probably a bit stronger. She's probably stronger than Gennaro, at least, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's kind of hard to say with these kind of middle of the road characters. All right, on to Syuuto Moonspell. All right, so you unlock Syuuto by evolving 4 seasons. And this is kind of a something that you'll find is you have to evolve the last person's weapon in order to get the next secret character, or sorry, the next DLC character. So you unlock him by evolving 4 seasons, and you buy for 5,000. Or his spell is It's Not an Eclipse. So this guy's kind of juicy. So he starts with Summon Knight, which is one of the better weapons, and then he also starts out with a hidden Knight Sword. So he has like a level, I think it's just like a level 1 Knight Sword that does not take up a weapon slot, but I think it only retaliates. And then every like 10 levels it upgrades and gets maxed out at level 8. Then it becomes a stronger weapon when Summon Knight gets evolved. So Syuuto also starts out with plus 50 health, plus 2 armor. You do get a minus 20% movement speed, but 50% might right off the bat. Minus 30% projectile speed, minus 30% area, which is kind of a big deal, and 50% curse. So Syuuto, he's pretty nice. I think I'm gonna put him in easy run below Poppea. Maybe. I think these two are kind of similar. The thing is, Poppea is just, she is a lot simpler. Syuuto has a lot of like stuff under the hood. Like he has a Knight Sword that evolves eventually, like the hidden Knight Sword that will evolve. He's got like all of these stats starting out. 50% might right off the bat is super nice. The area debuff is kind of a big deal, but yeah, it's just he's good. He's strong, and Summon Knight and the free Knight Sword are very nice. Both of them. So I think he's pretty solid there. So next is Babi-Onna. Babi-Onna. You unlock her by evolving Summon Knight, and then you purchase her for 5,000. Again, which scales. And then her spell is Vogue. So she starts with the Mirage Robe weapon. So she's interesting. Her passives are, she starts out with 10 reroll. And then she ignores the cooldown stat, but she poses while moving, and then every time she poses, she uses a weapon. So the faster she moves, the lower the cooldown will be for the weapons that you have. So she's kind of a weird one. So that's why when you have the Mirage Robe and you're walking around, she'll like do these poses, and then each frame will be her robe. Normally, that's not how the weapon would work on a normal character. It would just come out at its regular cooldown. But so basically, she does not benefit from any cooldown reduction. You want movement speed on her. movement speed is basically cooldown reduction, because the faster she moves and poses, the faster her weapons would be shooting out. She's an interesting character. I think she's kind of annoying to play until you get some good stuff. And you have to really know what she does, so that you can build around her. So you can get the wings, which basically acts as as the empty tome for her. So you're getting like 2 stats for the price of 1, sort of. So you have to kind of know what you're doing with her. But you can have a pretty fun run with her. Again, you just have to know what you're doing. The starting weapon is pretty mediocre, though, that being said. And other than the cooldown reduction movement, or the cooldown thing with her moving, the 10 reroll is pretty good, but she doesn't get any like stat bonuses or anything like that. So she's kind of annoying to use, but with a caveat being that she is fun if you can get the right build going. All right, so we're moving on to McCoy-Oni, big badgerman or something. You unlock this by evolving Mirage Robe, and then you buy them for 5k, and you can unlock them with the spell Ionico, whatever. So he starts with 108 bocce, starts with plus 8 max health, plus 1 armor, 20% growth, and then the area temporarily increases by 150% every second. So I think what it does is every second, like 1 second, he has big stuff, and then the next second it's normal sized, and then it kind of goes back and forth. So he's kind of interesting. There's nothing really too powerful about him. You get to start with the 108 bocce. So if you're going for like a curse luck run, then you kind of can take this guy. The armor, health, growth, whatever. I think the most interesting thing is his area, which kind of goes back and forth. But again, he can kind of get outpaced on area with all of the uncapped scale, or the area uncapped scaling character, and even Zi'Assunta with her Omni uncapped. But that being said, he's not particularly like annoying to play. Maybe if you think getting curse is annoying, you would put him down here. But I don't think he's that bad. And 108 bocce, even without too much difference between luck, like even if you just want to get leave your luck as normal and leave your curse as normal and buff your luck, you still get a decent damage bonus from the bocce. Yeah, I don't know. For a big badger character, he's kind of just not that interesting. The area going back and forth is probably the most interesting gimmick that he has, but you would rather it just be at 150 instead of it going back and forth, obviously. Okay, so now we're on to Megalo Menya Moonspell. This grandma. You unlock her by defeating 100,000 enemies with Menya in a single run. Then you buy her for 50k geld, and her spell is Lama Ladonna. So this is another free run one, basically. So she starts with 108 bocce, but it's a hidden 108 bocce, so it does not count to your weapon limit. And she just can't be damaged. Can't be damaged. Can't be done. That being said, when you reach the time limit, she disappears. So you literally you can't do a kill death run with this. You can't go. I haven't tried doing an infinite run with her, but I think that she will just continue existing. But basically, once you reach 30 minutes on a normal stage, she disappears. She poofs out of existence. 15 on any of the others, poof. So you cannot do a kill death run with Menya. That being said, she literally can't be damaged. So all you have to do is sit in one place for the entire run, and you'll get to 30 minutes, regardless of what you pick up, what you do. So she's kind of a toolbox or a sandbox character, kind of, but Queen Sigma just has access to all of the tools very easily, whereas Menya She does get minus 20 max health, which I don't know why she does, because she can't be damaged anyway. And she gets 100% movement speed, 100% might, 20% CDR, 10% luck, and 108 banish. And yes, she cannot be damaged, and she has a free 108 bocce that's hidden. And then again, every 10 levels starting at 20, it will upgrade and max at level 80 or something like that. So she's a free run, obviously. She just can't be damaged. She cannot be killed or hurt or scratched. So yeah, she's a free run. The only caveat is it's not a free run if you're trying to kill death, in which case it's not possible to do it with Menya. I don't think. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some weird glitch that you could do with her if you like instantly kill death when he arrives, but I don't think it's possible to do because you just disappear, and it's not even die. You can't even revive. I'm pretty sure you just are gone. So that's that for the Megalo Granny. So next we've got Megalo Syuuto. You unlock him by defeating 100,000 enemies in a single run with Syuuto. Then you purchase him for 5k. Or you can cast the spell Take a Shower. So he starts out with Night Sword, which is cool, and he gains 1% might every level uncapped, and starting with 150 max health, 2 armor, 20% movement speed, 50% might, 50% greed, 50% curse. So that's a lot. The 50% might plus the uncapped might scaling is super nice. You'll be killing stuff all day long. You get to level 100, you have 150% might without spinach or anything else like that, and you're feeling very nice, very good. The 150 max health is a lot. 2 armor is nice too. I think this is here because the Night Sword, when you evolve it, it will start damaging you. So that kind of offsets the Muramasa self-damage thing when you evolve it. So I don't think he's quite in the free run, because I mean 150 health is a lot, but I don't think he's quite in free run. You still have to use your brain a little bit, at least to set up. And a little bit of regen might not hurt, because while he does have 150 max health, you have to, you'll have to eventually regain that, and you can't always rely on Floor Chicken to appear for you, unless you're very lucky. Alright, so we'll go to Gav-Et-Oni, the Kappa Man. You unlock this guy by killing 6,000 Kappas, and then purchasing for 500 gold, and then starting with the bubbles, the bubble weapon, and you can unlock him with the spell Chevolano. So the passive are, you start with 20% movement speed, and then every 20 levels until level 80 you gain 1 amount. So it's kind of like a more buff version of the Mortaccio, Cavallo, and Ramba passive, where instead of capping at 60, it caps at 80, so you get plus 4 amount instead of plus 3 amount. That being said, the bubbles are kind of underwhelming, and the 20% movement speed is pretty good. I think I would put this above Mortaccio, but below Ramba, probably. It's kind of hard to say. Bubbles aren't particularly strong, and he doesn't have really too much interesting stuff going on for him. Alright, so we'll be going into the secret characters now. They basically, so the secret characters have unlocked conditions that are presented in the secret menu, and they give you like ambiguous hints. I will go over how you unlock them. If you're not interested, if you don't want it spoiled, I would suggest skipping this section, and then you'll see where they all get placed, I suppose. But it's not I guess it's not really like it's not like a huge secret. It's just if you want to experience it normally without secret characters. And to be honest, up until this point, these are basically all the characters that you'll be playing with until you get to the secret characters, so these guys being ranked probably wouldn't matter that much to you anyway. Alright, so we're starting out with Exdash Exiviiq. Exdash Exiviiq. So you unlock this. The scroll tells you to cast the spell X-X1VIIQ. So it literally just tells you. I believe, to cast the spell and the spell of Morbane, and you will get him unlocked. Or her, I guess. Alternatively, you can collect. There's a very, 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 very small chance to unlock Exdash every time you collect a little clover. So it's like every time you collect a clover, it puts that over like a big fraction, and then the more you get, the more total that you'll have collected. So Exdash starts out with Ebony Wings, which is okay. Then starting out with minus 23 max health, minus 10% move speed, minus 10% luck, minus 10% area, minus 50% speed, minus 10% duration, plus 10% cooldown, and 100% luck. So basically the only thing you're getting is double your luck, and everything else is in the trash can. You're starting out with a stinky bird that doesn't really do that much. He's pretty. I would put this probably in the hard run category. At the top though, I guess, because at least you're getting an actual weapon, albeit a not particularly strong weapon. It's just you're just getting dumped on with all of your stats as a ghost, unfortunately. All right, so next up we've got Toasty. Toasty is the red ghost that starts with Piccione instead of Ebony Wings. So basically, in order to unlock it, the scroll says you must uppercut a non-red Reaper. So basically, you need to unlock Exdash first. And if you if you unlocked Exdash with Little Clover prerequisite, you will have to cast the spell anyway. So you'll have to cast the Exdash spell in order to gain this secret character. But you unlock this by killing either the Stalker, the Drowner, or the Trickster. And then after you kill them, Toasty appears for like a very small amount of time, and then you press down and then the enter, and then it has to be on the arrow keys. I think it's very strange. S does not count, but you press down and enter when Toasty appears after you kill one of these Reapers, and then when you did it, you get a little jingle. And that's how you do it. I don't really know how you're supposed to know that you have to press down and enter after you kill one of the Reapers, but whatever. Alternatively, you could just cast the spell Tramezzini after you unlocked Exdash. So Toasty starts with Piccione, and they have minus 99 max health, meaning they have 1 hit point. You get 20% move speed, minus 10% might, minus 10% area, minus 50% speed, minus 10% duration, plus 10% cooldown, and 100% luck. So it's like Exdash on crack, I guess you would say, because you only have 1 hit point. So this is a very challenging sort of run. Honestly, I think I should put these guys down here, probably. Maybe not quite as bad as Christine, but I might catch some flack for keeping them above Christine, but I hate Christine. She's stanky. She's stankin' something fierce. Anyway. Yes, and also Toasty gains more luck, max health, and armor at certain levels. So your luck will be increasing from like 1 to 99 to 100%. Then if you manage to get to level 100, you instantly gain like 10,000 health. If you get to 200, you gain like another 10,000 health and then like 65,000 armor or something like that. So you're literally unfucking killable. Maybe I will put I'll put them above Poe. But if you manage to get past that, you become indestructible basically. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Toasty. We're almost at the end here. All right, we have Smith 4. Mr. Smith 4. It's a secret character. The scroll says sometimes you just need to ask for help. So you unlock this character after Exdash and Toasty. Then you type spam in the main menu. It will start a 30-second timer. It's hidden, but there's 30 seconds to go to the character selection and enter spam. Then you go to the stage selection, enter spam, enter a run, and then you type humbug. When you leave, Smith 4 will be playable. Alternatively, you can cast a spell, maybe I'm a stallion. I have no fucking idea. Sometimes you just need to ask for help. I don't really know how typing spam on every single menu in 30 seconds and then typing humbug would you'd get that from that. But these fucking scrolls are unhinged. Okay, so he starts with Vandalier, which is cool because Vandalier is just the upgraded, better version of the two birds, obviously. And then there is, in fact, no... I don't think... Oh, here we go. You start with 7 max health, which is not a lot. 20% move speed, minus 10% might, minus 10% area, minus 50% speed, minus 10% duration, 10% cooldown, 100% luck, and then you gain 0.01 recovery, 0.7% might, area, speed, and so 0.7% omni, and a 0.25% cooldown and 1% luck every level. So you have like a super omni, you just start out with really trash stats. So I think he's better than Exdash by a good amount, but not by... Yeah, by a good amount, I guess. Because he has that, like, if you manage to get past having 7 health, the like super omni and then luck every single level can kind of get you there. And Vandalier, while it's not the best union or evolution, it's definitely a good one to have, and you'll find starting out with an evolution item, or weapon rather, is very strong. It will basically clear the early minutes of the game by itself. You won't have to worry about too much. So next up is Random. Random, it's technically a playable character. So it says, in order to unlock it, the scroll says, look under previously owned coffins. So on any of the normal stages, you open the coffin for a second time, and then you unlock Random. Then you buy it for 5k. You can also cast the spell, I gotta get to the edge of soul. So there's a lot of math involved with this. So basically, I think this doesn't select a random character. This doesn't select a random character for you. It's presented with one of 8 names selected at random. The selected name influences the passive bonuses. So basically what this does is you don't get a random character like what you think it would be. It is literally a character of randomness. So it will start out, and of the 8, there's like 8 names that you can have, I guess, and those sort of affect its base stats and its scaling stats. I would put this at the top of hard run just because you don't really know what you're going to get, and you're going to get a random, I think, starter weapon also. And then your level ups also are changed. You can't really rely on anything. This is, I mean, it's a you hit random, you get what you get. So yeah, it's kind of like a challenge thing, I guess you would say. All right, we're getting to the end here. So next up, we've got Boon Marrabbio. So the scroll says, follow the trail after pillaging Pumarola and Skull from the Mad Forest. So basically what you do is you need to get the yellow sign first, go to the Mad Forest, pick up Skull of Maniac and Pumarola. So you can pick them up, and then if you want, you can discard them or banish them. Or you can also obtain them by level up and maxing them out. Then when the conditions are met, pies will start to appear and lead you to a specific part of the map, which is like off to the left of the grid of Hollow Heart and above Metaglio left, where an enemy will appear. And then it will slowly move toward you. If you defeat it, you plays a jingle, and then you have unlocked Boon Marrabbio, which you can then purchase for a base price of 666 coins. Alternatively, you can cast a spell, Fetini Panate. So Marrabbio starts out with 1000 Edge, which is an evolved weapon, which is quite nice. You also get 20 max health, 30% move speed, 20% might, minus 80% greed, and 10% curse, but also minus 110% speed. So he's very, 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 very slow. or sorry, the projectiles are slow. Not himself is slow, but the projectiles, they'll shoot they'll shoot backwards basically at minus 110%. If you get it to 100%, the projectiles will just stay where they are. So he's kind of a weird one. So he has 1000 edge, so he has that like really good thing, but it's shooting backwards. So you just have to aim behind you, and if you do get projectile speed, it will kind of poop on your build, not your build, but the way that you have to play him. If you get to 100%, the projectiles will just come out and stay where you are and act like kind of a worse Shadow Pinion. So he's interesting. I'm gonna put him at the top of annoying just because he is annoying to play. But that being said, he starts out with a very, very strong evolution, albeit in a weird way where it shoots out backwards of you and it's still kind of slow. But, you know, I mean, 1000 Edge is strong, especially with Arcana. But he's weird. He's a weird guy, and honestly, he should stay away from me. Alright, so next up we've got Avatar Infernus. So the scroll says, it is tangible only in the inverted inlaid library. Good friends might then show the way. So basically, after you clear the Eudaimonia machine, and then you defeat the director, the end boss, you go to the inlaid library with inverse mode, you travel all the way to the right, way past the gold ring, and then there's like a trickster. Kill the trickster, interact with the piano that he was playing, and then if you have Pichone and Ebony Wings, you can do this without the help of the birds, but basically you need to press D, A sharp, G, and C sharp. And then you find yourself in a dark area with enemies. You run around and you find them in one of the coffins. You open the coffin, and then you kick his ass, and then you get him. It will end your run after you get him, but then you'll get him, which is kind of a weird thing. Then you can buy him for 666. Alternatively, you can cast the spell Calvas Flam. So he's kind of interesting. So he starts out with the Flames of Misspell item, which is quite good to start with. And then he also starts with an Arcana. You start with Heart of Fire, which grows stronger every single level. But then it says you lose control, so eventually you gain like a lot of movement speed or something like that. So let's see, you gain 0.5% curse, 0.5% might, 2% movement speed, and 0.25% cooldown every single level, uncapped. In addition, he starts with 60 max health, 50% might, 50% luck, 100% magnet, 1 revival, and 10 reroll. So he's quite strong. The movement speed will get you fucking schmovin' like crazy. Flames of Misspell is pretty strong, and the Arcana that you start out with, even if you're not doing an Arcana run, I think, is quite nice. So I think I'll put him at the end of run as free. Put him at the end here. He's definitely an easy run, but I feel like with all of that extra stuff that he has is just super, super nice. Alright, so werewolf time. Minnah Mannarah. So the scroll says, deal with the consequences of stealing cheese from the dairy plant. So basically, you need the yellow sign first, go to the dairy plant, get cheese, which is located west of the armor and visible as a floor chicken. Once you get it, 7 werewolves will spawn, and then kicking all of their ass will signal that you have unlocked the cheese-loving werewolf. Then you buy it for 666. Alternatively, cast the spell Fold in the Cheese. So Minnah starts out with Bloody Tear, which is super nice. It's just an evolved whip. It's just better. It's nicer. More damage. Healing. The passive bonuses is you start with 150 max health, 0.5 recovery, minus 70% might. But you gain 10% might every 3 levels until you get to level 24. So you eventually end up getting plus 70% might, which basically brings you to a net 0, I guess. Then her stats change every minute. Might, projectile speed, duration, area, and cooldown. It's on like a cycle. Basically, every minute her stats change. So she's kind of a weird, complicated character. But still kind of cool at the same time. I'm going to put her at annoying run. Probably better than Marrabbio, but I don't know. I'll put it at the bottom of standard run, just because Bloody Tear is super nice. And the stats are just weird. And you never, I mean, again, the stats are sort of randomized, so it could be good, could be bad. All right, next up we've got Leda. We've got Akira here. So Leda is both a hidden boss and a playable character. So it says to investigate the bottom of Gallo Tower. So what you have to do is you start a run in Gallo Tower. You need a high movement speed character. You also, if you apply hyper mode, it helps. You travel south until it's completely dark on all the edges, and you'll know you're in the correct area when the music is replaced with ominous wind. The letters in the background also change from runes to I am alive here. You keep going south, and eventually you'll encounter Leda, and you don't want to pass her because she's very slow and won't teleport to you. So then you just kick their ass, and then you get them as a playable character. They have a lot of health, but you'll get it eventually. I don't think it's too difficult. Then you buy her for 666, or you cast the spell, I will never let you forget about me. She starts with a Holy Wand evolution weapon, which is whatever. Also 5 armor, minus 20% movement speed, 100% might, which is quite good, 10% area, 10% CDR, and minus 80% greed. So the Holy Wand is a lot better than the normal wand, especially early. But I mean, 100% might is pretty good. I think I'd put this in standard run, probably above McCoy-Oni. Probably should put it higher, but it's just kind of a weird character to play as. The 80% greed also makes it kind of annoying because you can't really farm with her, and there's not really much that you're going to want to be doing with her, unless you just want to play as Leda for some reason. But, you know, whatever. Alright, moving on to Cosmo. Cosmo Pavone. Bird. It's a Ho-Oh we have here. So it says, the scroll says, with a pure heart and 2 good friends, visit the fiery balcony in Capella Magna. So basically you must have yellow sign and have unlocked Zi'Assunta Belpaese. Then you enter Capella Magna with a character with 0 eggs, so you have to do no eggs for the pure of heart thing. You also, toggling the eggs off will not count. So you have to have a character that has collected no eggs. Then you collect Pichone and Ebony Wings. Then you keep going north, past the crown and Tiragisiu, where you find a fire biscuit. You collect it, and then Cosmo spawns on the balcony, and then the gate will be there's like a gate blocking it, and then it will be removed. Then you can collect it collect it, and then a flash appears. And then I think that's basically it. Then when you unlock it, you purchase for 666, or you can cast the spell I Hovistoyo. El Hovistoyo. So it does not, it starts with Pichone and Ebony Wings, both of them, and then starts with 20 max health, 1 recovery, 20% luck, 30% move speed, and 1 revival. Then you get 1% recovery, luck every level, and 1 revival every 100 levels with no cap. So you get Ebony and Pichone, but they do not take up weapon slots, so they're hidden. And I think you can evolve, or you can union them, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure. But anyway, they max out at level 40, both of them. And then every time Cosmo gets revived, it triggers a rosary effect where it blows up the screen. I would say Cosmo's pretty strong. Starting with Pichone and Ebony Wings, and then being able to still get a full, a full weapon slot, a full 6 weapons, is kind of nice. And then it's just the bonuses on top of that. It's just having a very low max health. Let's put it by Menya, like right below Menya, I think, for now. Again, these are kind of hard to quantify. But we're getting there, so I'm trying to press on. All right, next up is Peppino. Peppino. It says, in order to unlock this, you must be a good boy in Il Molise, which basically means when you go to Il Molise, you use celestial dustings to attack the plants, and instead of doing damage to them, you heal them, and then upon restoring 100,000 health points, it plays a jignal that signals that you have unlocked Peppino. And if you use Osole, Osole does not take damage from any of the plants. You just run around healing all of the plants with your celestial dusting, I guess. Then you buy it for 666, or cast the spell Pino Chiampino. So Peppino starts with Soul Eater, which is pretty good. You start with 20 max health, 2 armor, minus 60% area, 100% magnet, which is cool, and then minus 100% movement speed. You gain additional 10% every, on certain levels, but it ends up maxing at 60% area, so it cancels out the minus 60% area. The 100% magnet is nice. The minus 100% movement speed, you can move a little bit. You're not like banned from moving at all. It's just so slow. I think this is probably at the top of hard run. You can do some really funny stuff with this tree, where since you start with Soul Eater, and you get Magnet, you can really get the astrology arcana, and start doing some real damage and not really moving around. You can offset the movement speed debuff by getting wings. You still won't be moving very fast, but it'll be faster than extremely slow. I will say Peppino is very difficult to do a kill death run on, because it's nearly impossible unless you have Mad Groove to get to all of the stage items. So you're basically on your own wherever you spawn. Okay. Next up is Sir Trouser. Big Trouser, I guess I should say. So he's a merchant. You unlock him. It says master all 16 accessories in Moonglow. So basically, in Moonglow, you select all of the stage items and raise them all to max level. Then you unlock them after you have to manually leave after you upgrade all 16 of the stage items. Yeah, he's interesting. So alternatively, you can unlock him by casting the spell Ir Rivatola Rotino, whatever that means. So his passive is he just gains 1% greed every level uncapped and has longer gold fevers. So this guy is good for farming gold. Other than that, not too much. He starts out with Candy Box, so you get to choose whatever your starting weapon is. I think I'd put him at the bottom of standard run, just because he has Candy Box and you're really only using him to farm gold. I don't know. I still like to farm gold on Queen Sigma, but I mean, he's got the uncapped greed bonus, so you only would have to do like one infinite run with this guy, leaving AFK for some time, and you'll have more gold than you know what the fuck to do with, because of his uncapped greed. So he's not really a character that you play to play the interesting quirks of the character. He's there mostly for farming. All right, so next up we've got Missing No. So it says the scroll says, with the most adverse fate in Green Acres, run off the edge of the world. So unlock this, you need Yellow Sign, then you enter with Hyper Mode and Hurry Mode enabled. Then you head south 18 tile sets, west 18 tile sets. The area will change drastically, like the appearance. Then basically you're going to the far lands in Minecraft. Everything will like morph together, and like eyes will spawn. And then if you kill 128 winged eyes, then you can buy Missing No. So Missing No is interesting. You have a 50% chance of starting with Axe or Death Spiral. So it's either, I think, whenever you go in. You buy it for 66,666 coins, and then the stats are randomized every time you enter the character selection screen. Yeah, there are some interesting there's some interesting quirks that might occur. So all the stats are randomized, like, and it's no holds barred every time you enter the character selection screen. So you can kind of farm for better stats, but there's a couple interesting things. If your max health is negative, Missing No becomes invincible. If max health is 0, Missing No will instantly die when you go in. If your movement speed is below 100%, your controls get inverted. If your move speed 0, you won't be able to move. If your growth is minus 100% or lower, you cannot gain experience. If curse is 100% or lower, no enemies spawn. And if your luck is 100% or lower, no chests will drop. So Missing No is a weird one. I don't really know where to put this because, it's just so random. Like, it could be up here because you would be invincible. You'd be literally unkillable. Or you could be down here where you die instantly. So I don't know. It's a weird one. So yeah, I don't really know where to put this guy. I'm gonna make a new category. How do I do that? There should be a way that I can do that, right? Add a row below. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of hard with this guy. I guess I could put Minnah. Nah. There's more stuff that you can control with Minnah, but Missing No, it's just a whole mixed bag. You could die instantly when you enter. You could literally be indestructible and get a free run. But again, you can kind of game that a little bit by going in and out of the character select screen and looking at the stats that Missing No would have. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Especially if you start with Death Spiral, you're feeling pretty good because that's a pretty strong weapon. All right, so now we've got Gaines Boros. The scroll says, find the only one place where flowers bloom in the Bone Zone. So if you go due north of your spawn in the Bone Zone, past the Silver Ring, there's a ring of flowers that heals the character by 8 every 0.5 seconds, and if you stay in there for 10 seconds, a jingle is played and the ring disappears. The healing will continue, but then you unlock Gaines Boros. You buy him for 666, or you can unlock him with the spell High Five. He starts with Heavenly Sword, which is whatever, but he gains 2% growth every level uncapped. So he's good for like limit breaks, because normally Heaven Sword not good, but you can do like a solo Heaven Sword limit break thing with like Arcana if you have Silent Old Sanctuary. Waltz of Pearls and Slash really makes it go crazy. And then again, the limit break just lets it scale infinitely with 2% growth every level. So if you're doing like a limit break kind of thing, Gaines is your man. Normally though, growth really isn't like the thing that you want, so I think I'll put him in the annoying run category, just because Heavenly Sword's poopy. Unless you dump like 400 levels into it, and have Arcana. But that being said, he's an interesting character. If you want to try and get like the most levels ever, this is the guy for you. But other than that, it's just kind of like a gimmick. Him perma leveling. Okay, next up is Gyorunton. You unlock this, or it says you survive boss rash with one weapon. So you unlock it after surviving 15 minutes in boss rash with one weapon. So it says the easiest way to do it is to get the Mindbender relic, which lets you limit how many weapons you can pick up. And then you could use Game Killer if you wanted, but I wouldn't do that. I would rather use Mindbender. Then you unlock it, buy him for 5k. Or you could cast the spell Second Evolution. So he starts with Bracelet, which is cool, I guess. The passive is you start with 300 max health, and then 30% might and 2 revivals. And you get a 1% curse every level uncapped. Also, you can find evolutions in any treasure chest regardless of any condition. So this guy's kind of weird. So you're permanently scaling your curse. You have good starting stats and revivals. You start with the bracelet, which isn't the best, but you can sink a lot of levels into it, and it becomes respectable eventually. But being able to find evolutions in treasure chests without having to bother, like without having, you know, to pick up the actual weapons can be quite good. The 1% curse permanently scaling. You can also do a botche run with them pretty easily, where the botche will just be permanently evolving, or not evolving, but permanently getting stronger. That being said, it is kind of makes your run a little hard because of that forever scaling curse. I guess I'll put it at the end of annoying, because bracelet is not super good early. You're not guaranteed to get an evolution, or even a good evolution for that matter, out of any treasure chests. It just is something that can happen. 30% might is nothing to shake a stick at, but the 1% curse will eventually overtake that pretty easily. So I think it's pretty fair to put him in the annoying run. Alright, so next we've got Mask of Red Death. It says you need to settle the score of the Reaper to unlock them. So basically you just kill Death, and then you unlock Mask of Red Death. So Mask of Red Death starts with Death Spiral, which is very nice. Unlock them for 666. Or you can cast the spell A Blasphemous Mockery. Red Death starts with 100% movement speed, 255 max health, and 20% might. And yeah, you just start with Death Spiral, which is a strong one. One thing is, if you do get Axe and Candelabra while you have Death Spiral, the Candelabrador will not evolve the Axe. You'll just have both, basically. That being said, I think the run is pretty free with this guy. You're so fast. You have so much damage with Death Spiral early on. It's very difficult to die at all, or even take damage. You have double movement speed, a lot of health, and then 20% might on top of that, just to help. I mean, you're one-shotting everything in the first 10-15 minutes of the run anyway with Death Spiral, but he's pretty free. Alright, last character here is Scorej-Oni. So it says, the scroll says, discover the source of roaring thunder on the tiny bridge. So you walk 20 tile sets to the right on Tiny Bridge, you encounter Scorej-Oni, you defeat his ass, and you unlock him as a playable character. Buy him for 5k after. You can also cast a spell, Not Sure It's Thunder. He doesn't start with a weapon, but he gets a hidden lightning ring, and then every 8 levels... Wait, you get... Okay, how does this work? Sorry. You get 108 max health, minus 20% movement speed, and plus 20% area. So you gain a hidden lightning ring every 8 levels, up to a maximum of 6 at level 40. So I think what this does is it does not... Oh, they are upgraded every 12 levels. So you can get up to 6 lightning rings, and then they will eventually max out at level 8. They also fire whenever you lose health. I think this is a pretty free run. I mean, just being able to have 6 lightning rings at max rank, and they're hidden, which means you can buy another lightning ring and upgrade that yourself. He's pretty nice. Yeah, he's pretty nice. So I think that's the tier list so far. I could see an argument of Menya being higher than Sigma, but again, Sigma is a free run with the bonus of being able to kill Death if you want to or need to. We'll just do a quick look over, and I mean, a lot of this is opinion and like preference. It's a lot more difficult to rank these numerically because they're all, I mean, like I said, you can succeed with any of these. It just depends on the weapons that you get. But it's kind of just about how difficult it is for you to get to that point, I guess you would say, or how annoying it is. I think the characters that I have in standard run are good. I'm not exactly sure about the order itself. It gets a little scuffed up in here, but I think all of these characters deserve to be in the standard run area. I'm just not exactly sure about where in this they all would be. Everything else looks pretty solid, though. I guess I should put random down here too, with the missing no, just because you will have random stats, and a random starting weapon. Yeah, I think Lama's better than Osole. This guy's probably better too. I just found he's annoying. The curses really makes my day hard. But I could definitely see an argument for him going up. Gains I could see for him going up too. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is fine for now. Yeah, so this one was a little bit more difficult than the other tier lists, just because, like I said, numerically there might be an objectively right way to rank all these guys, but it's mostly just coming from my experience, how annoying it is to get a run going and get a run completed, how their stats give you bonuses and how much you actually want those bonuses, or in sometimes their detriments. So I think this is a solid tier list here. But again, the characters one is more just annoying versus easy rather than power level. They're all pretty equal as far as power level. Well, not all of them, obviously, but as far as power level goes, you can succeed on any of them. And you can get crazy runs on any of them. Yeah, but I think that's it. Yeah. So thanks if you have been watching this far. I'll probably end up doing more Vampire Survivors content in the future. I have a sponsored stream that I'll be streaming on my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/tonkdumbledonk. I haven't exactly decided what day that will be on, but it will definitely be before the 22nd. I'll probably be playing Dark and Darker, which is a dungeon crawling sort of game when that comes out, with some friends. So if you're interested in Dark and Darker when it comes out, I'll be streaming that probably all that week, and then I'll eventually have a sponsored stream as well if you're interested in getting some heavily discounted food. Woohoo! And of course, I would appreciate all of the help that I can get. So yeah, if you liked it, don't forget to press the thumbing up button. If you didn't like it, press the thumbing down button. If you want to yell at me or anything of that, you can comment. If you're interested in more of my content, you can subscribe and do all of that fun stuff. Yeah, that's it. All right, I'll see you guys later. Thank you.